Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Me again, Shannon Fox here, bringing you an interview with Elon Musk and Larry Kudlow. 17-minute full-length interview. Going to bring you the whole thing. Try not to jump in and say too much. It's definitely chock full of useful information. I just listened to it minutes ago. It hasn't been out long. It was live hour or so ago, earlier today, should I say. But at any rate, there's definitely some good takeaways from this. So let's go ahead and get into it. Before we get into it, let me just say, as much as Doge has done to expose USAID and all this government waste, fraud, and abuse, and all these agencies, we're fixing to find out. Department of Homeland Security, the one Mayorkas was over, the one that was over the border, the immigration, ICE, and about between a dozen and 20 agencies all fall under the purview of the DHS, super powerful agency because of the other agencies that fall under it. And they weaponize these agencies to put people in this country. Maybe that's kind of a weird way to put it, but they literally spent money for FEMA money, money that's supposed to be allocated for all kinds of things besides immigration. And they sent that money right on over to FEMA. FEMA used the money to facilitate this mass migration of people that's happened for the last 4 years. You know, it ain't been free. The money's been coming from somewhere. And if they couldn't write checks for the money in Congress, well, then Biden just reallocated money from agencies, stealing from other coffers is what has been going on. And we know this already on the surface. But when the DHS gets doged, it is going to be the end of the Democrat Party. Just behind the amount of information that hopefully the entire planet comes to the realization of as to how much it costs to flood our country with all these illegal voters. And that's what I'm going to call them from now on, illegal voters, because that was the main purpose in bringing them here, in order to subsidize the welfare state, incentivize these people to come here and stay here, put them on the food stamp, gravy train, all that stuff. For this to happen, for this to be a part of the program is what incentivized a lot of these people to come here, not just here's a free ride, but we're going to take care of you. When you get here, we're going to give you some stuff the minute you step through the door. This stuff was super expensive, folks, and I guarantee you, people like Mayorkas should go to prison and may go to prison for fraud, buying reallocation of funds that were not under his purview to be reallocating for things like immigrants, illegal immigrants, should I say. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get into this. Otherwise, I'll talk your ear off all day. This is a great interview. Here we go.
All right, we welcome to the show and a special interview with Mr. Elon Musk, who, of course, is famed Trump advisor, CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, chair of X Corp. Elon, thank you for doing this. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
I want to begin, but among other things, everyone's attacking you for your position. What are you doing in the government? There was a cyber attack on X today, which shut it down and may have been foreign sourced.
Yes.
It's a big story. You want to give us a moment on that?
Well, we're not sure exactly what happened, but there was a massive cyber attack to try to bring down the X system with IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area.
Oh, well, so that's your suspicion. Is the website, is the internet up? Is it up yet?
It's up, yeah.
It's up yet. Okay, good.
Sounds like the CIA coming straight out of Ukraine.
But I just was looking back. Let me just see if I get this right. They're setting fire to various Tesla charging stations near Boston. Shots were fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon. Various nonviolent...
Shots fired, not a metaphor.
Shots fired, yes. Downtown New York, marching against the Tesla showroom. Your stock is way down. You've been criticized left and right.
But look on the bright side.
I mean, why are you doing this?
Always look on the bright side of life.
Yes, I'm an optimist. Yeah.
But besides that,
yes. I mean,
how's your day?
What motivates you to do this?
Was the opera good?
It's tough sledding.
Yeah, it is tough sledding. But I think we're doing the right thing here. There's been a tremendous amount of of waste and fraud in the government. You know, when you're part of the government, you saw a lot of that, and there's been, you know, if you look at the Inspector General reports and the Government Accountability Office, there have been many audits that have pointed out that there's a tremendous amount of waste and fraud in the government. In fact, there was a report issued by the GAO, the Government Accountability Office, last year. So during the Biden administration, which estimated the federal government fraud to be $500 billion. So just to be clear, that's not a Trump administration thing, that's a Biden administration thing. So what we're trying to do is get that number down to a much smaller figure, save money for the American taxpayer, stop money being spent on things that I think very few taxpayers would agree make sense. You know, transgender animal surgeries, or why are we spending money? Why are American tax dollars being spent on this? The president's gone through a long list of absurd things. Why are the 20 million people who are definitely dead marked as alive in the Social Security database? Why were hundreds of millions of dollars of Small Business Administration loans were given out to people aged 11 and under, according to the Social Security? I mean, like, these must be some very enterprising 8-year-olds.
Y'all hear? Y'all hear that crap, folks? There's another way that they're fraudulent, stealing the money. They're using kids to be the recipients of small business loans. Now, I could see if you needed a little startup for maybe like a lemonade stand or something, maybe some arts and craft thing you're making, selling to your schoolmates, something like that. But I can't see giving $35,000 to 10-year-olds for their lemonade stand. I don't believe that's what's going on, folks. I believe they are stealing the money, and they just found another way to hide it. And thank God for Doge and Elon, because they're finding it.
You know,
that's a pretty strong 150-year-olds.
Yes, exactly. As the president said, you know, we have an enormous number of people marked as alive who are 160. He didn't know the country was that healthy.
Yes. You know. So demystify this. How do you do it? Okay. How big is your team?
Yeah.
Where'd you recruit most of them from? And what is it that makes you choose, you know, the Treasury or Social Security or USAID? How does it work? Let the public know, please.
Right. Well, we just basically follow the money. You know, we look at the president's executive orders, and we also just follow the money. So we started looking closely at USAID because they were completely violating the president's executive orders to suspend foreign aid. You know, what's called foreign aid, but in our view is a lot of corruption. So what we saw there is just a tremendous amount of money being sent to non-governmental organizations. But actually, this, by the way, is, I think, one of the biggest sources of fraud in the world, is government-funded non-governmental organizations. This is a gigantic fraud loophole where the government can give money to an NGO, and then there are no controls over that NGO. So they've given billions of dollars, in fact, we estimate tens of billions of dollars to NGOs that are essentially scams. And
by the way,
I'm trying to put a stop to that. You know, so
I don't want to interrupt, but Secretary of State Rubio just come out. I think he tweeted today. He has accepted over 80% of your recommendations to shut down in USAID.
Right.
So your review and analysis was spot on.
Yes. So I think when people criticize, say, what Doge is doing, we say, well, which part specifically? Because we put all of the actions of the Doge team on the Doge.gov website and on the Doge handle on X. So we post the receipts. So it's like, this action has been taken, this action has been taken. So when we get criticism, we say, like, of what? Which line do you disagree with? Like which cost savings do you disagree with? And then people usually can't think of any.
No.
You know, so
it's transparent line by line.
It's transparent line by line,
which is quite remarkable.
Right. And so, and then with respect to the Treasury, for example, the two main recommendations we suggested, which have now been implemented, was that any payments going out of the Treasury, especially the Treasury's main payment computer, which is called PAM, things like a payments account manager or something like that, but it's like almost $5 trillion a year, so about $1 billion an hour, that the payments be coded with the congressional appropriation, and that there be an explanation for the payment.
Yes.
Very basic stuff. And just doing that, we estimate will save $100 billion a year.
Wow. You're not really, let me see if I get this right, particularly with Social Security, you're not really changing policy.
No,
you're auditing the fiscal mechanisms to make sure that, from point A gets to point B, and that's where it's supposed to get to. In some cases, it doesn't get there, or some cases, it may go over there. But that's it's not a policy exercise. You're not changing laws. You're just doing what any business would do in a profit and loss audit.
I think we're really what we're adding here is caring and competence, and there's a massive amount of fraud of basically people submitting Social Security numbers for Social Security benefits, unemployment, small business administration loans, and medical, where those are fake Social Security numbers, or they've stolen somebody else's Social Security number, and we're trying to put a stop to all that. And that's the number which is estimated to be on the order of 10% of federal expenditures, which is half $1 trillion.
It's a huge number.
Yeah.
You're working with the agency heads. You're working with the cabinet secretaries.
Yes.
I saw Howard Lutnick was on TV yesterday saying you were partnering with them. Is that fair?
Yeah, what we do is in consultation with the cabinet secretaries and with their departments. So we're really trying to be we'll refer to ourselves as tech support.
Mm-hmm.
We're really helping the department get a handle on things, because what actually happens here is you've got this sort of vast federal bureaucracy, and then you've got a very thin layer on top of the politically appointed officials, and what tends to happen is that the bureaucracy, frankly, is in control, and they largely ignore the politically appointed people.
Why should the bureaucracy?
I'm sure you must have seen that.
I've lived with this twice. I worked for Reagan many years ago, and I worked for Trump in the first term.
Yeah.
It's like a permanent bureaucracy. I might add, it's a permanently liberal bureaucracy.
Yes, very much so.
And it doesn't. It's not a bureaucracy that necessarily enforces or implements presidential policy.
They don't. In fact, they try their best to thwart presidential policy. So the president is the elected representative of the people, and if the president cannot get things implemented as a reflection of the will of the people, then what we have is not a democracy. We have a bureaucracy. We have rule of the bureau, not rule of the people, and that's.
And we've all heard the catchphrase, Trump is a threat to democracy. The Republicans are a threat to democracy. No. That's not the right term. We were a threat to their bureaucracy. That's the accurate term for what's really going on. And we are now fighting an uphill battle to try to weed out these moles and holes in the ground. These, like a gopher, you got to hunt them down, got to blast them out one way or another. Got to smoke them out. Got to put some legal action in some of them's life for the way they've acted. But more than that, a lot of them just need to get fired and move around, just because they are facilitating the whole waste, fraud, and abuse, and didn't have a problem with it up till the minute Elon shows up.
That's what we're trying to defeat here is the bureaucracy and have rule of the people. As you mentioned, the bureaucracy is overwhelmingly Democrat. So Washington, D.C. was 92.5%, I believe, voted for Kamala. So this is overwhelmingly a deep blue situation.
How do you pick your next targeted agency or department?
Well, we're trying to act broadly across all departments, so it's not just one department at a time.
Are you in all of them now? All of them?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes. Oh.
We're trying to make the government more efficient across the board. So yeah.
How big's your team?
We're a little over 100 at this point.
100.
Get to 200.
You're going to get to 200.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're recruiting from where? More or less.
Basically, it's software people, information security software people, and finance. It's basically, finance and technology. Wake-up call for me was looking at seeing that the interest payments on national debt exceeded the Defense Department budget. And that was only growing over time, which meant if we didn't do something about this, then there won't be any money for anything. We'll just be servicing debt.
And you know how to read an income statement, and you know how to read a balance sheet. You've had some business experience. I'm kidding, but you know about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, really, I just don't want America to go bankrupt.
So it's a call to action. You're hearing a call to action.
Yeah.
You giving up your other stuff? I mean, how are you running your other businesses?
With great difficulty. Yeah, I mean,
but there's
he's sacrificing a lot, not just his safety, but all of his time and the continued future production of all his projects that he wants to do, including go to Mars and all these things that he's got in the back of his head that he's implementing plans to, including building up SpaceX here, bigger and better here in Texas, and so many things. And his businesses are probably taking a hit today because he doesn't have the fully dedicated time to be at 5 places at once. And I believe he is pretty much spending most of his time doing the deep dive with Doge into the whole political arena. And maybe that's where he needs to be at the moment. Maybe at one point he can go back to doing his regular day job once he gets his team whipped into shape. But thank God we got Elon Musk on our team. Thank God.
There's no turning back, you're saying.
I'm just here trying to make government more efficient, eliminate waste and fraud, and so far we're making good progress, actually. So our savings at this point exceed $4 billion a day. Mm-hmm. So it's very significant.
You think you'll wind up getting to $1 trillion?
Yeah.
Savings?
I mean, unless we're stopped, we will get to $1 trillion of savings.
And that stuff can be translated. I mean, we've been talking. We had Russell Vogt, the OMB director, on earlier, through very rescission authority, impoundment authority. But I believe you said it earlier. It's an audit that will not gather dust on shelves. This is actually going to wind up with real savings, bend the spending baseline down.
There have been many good audits, like I said, done by inspector generals and by government accountability office, and they just haven't been implemented. Nothing's been done. I think the GAO identified that there were 17 million dead people in the Social Security database several years ago. It's now 20 million, but nobody did anything about it. I think we can sort of look at this as a complaint minimization optimization. So basically, if the government sends money out to, whether it's wasteful or fraudulent, nobody complains if they receive money, but they do complain if they don't receive money. And the people that complain the loudest are the ones receiving the fraudulent money.
And you're on it.
Yeah. So the goal here is let's not have America go bankrupt with waste and fraud. So that's what I'm here for, and we're making good progress.
Yes, you are. You're going to go another year?
Yeah, I think so.
Final report, middle of next year?
Well, we're just getting things done as opposed to writing a report. Like say, reports don't mean anything. You got to actually take action.
Yes.
So the I mean, the waste report in entitlement spending, which is which is most of the federal spending is entitlements. So
Wow.
that's like the big one to eliminate, because that's the sort of $500 billion, maybe 700 billion a year. That is also a mechanism by which the Democrats attract and retain illegal immigrants by essentially paying them
Yep.
to come here and then turning them into voters.
Yes.
So this is why the Democrats are so upset about the situation, because they're losing. If we turn off this gigantic money magnet for illegal immigrants, then they will leave. And they'll lose voters.
But you have President's support. He said so again yesterday. He completely.
That's a good point. If you turn off the spigot of free stuff to all these illegal people here in the country, they'll figure it out. They may have to go home. They may get their own mindset and do the self-deport. I am hoping that we have a lot of them that realize that they're not going to get the benefits, or their benefits are fixing to be cut off, or they're in process of being cut off. I would love to see that, because some people only came here because they knew it was a free ride. So we'll see how all this goes, how all this turns out. But I'm glad to hear it. Sounds good.
Completely supports your operation.
Yeah. Well, thanks. But that's super, without the president's support, we couldn't make any progress here. Yeah, I mean, where you'll see the biggest outcry is from the Democrats, who are they don't want the waste and fraud to be turned off, because it is a gigantic magnet to attract illegal immigrants and have them stay in the country. And I mean, you see some of the crazy stuff, like where money from FEMA, which is FEMA is an agency that's meant to take care of Americans in distress, and a bunch of their money was being sent to pay for luxury hotels in New York for illegal immigrants. And that was happening even after the president was elected, even after he signed an executive order saying that needs to stop. So we actually made sure that money did stop going, because obviously it's outrageous that American taxpayer money is spent on luxury hotels for illegals. But you have to say, like, why was that being done? It was because the Democrats are trying to import voters, basically.
Yes. I agree.
Yeah, and that's also why there's no voter ID needed. In fact, in California and New York State, you're not allowed to show voter ID. That's doesn't that seem insane?
Insane.
Yeah.
I say that as a New Yorker. It's insane.
Yeah, insane.
And it violates the entire Constitution and the principles behind it.
Yes.
Producers are yelling at me to get out. I don't want to end this interview because it's too much fun.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you one thing? 20 seconds. Nothing to do with Doge. Can you rescue the astronauts?
Yes, we're bringing them back in a few weeks.
There's not near enough attention being paid to this. You're going to get them back?
We're going to get them back.
Good job.
God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your service.
For the record, folks, if y'all don't know, we've had astronauts that have been suspended or have been stranded in space for, I believe, 8 months. And Biden, Elon Musk, 6 months ago, offered to go get them when they were supposed to be picked up, because obviously they weren't being picked up by NASA. So Elon Musk offers his services. I'll go pick them up, bring them home. Well, the optics looked too bad for the Democrat Party. So they said, no, we'll just wait. We'll just leave them up there for now. And so these people have been up there for 8 months waiting on a ride home. And here in less than 2 weeks, Elon Musk is going to go pick them up. I heard Trump say it. Now I've just heard Elon Musk confirm it. 2 billionaires saving mankind, one soul at a time, even in space. I love it. I love it. Like, subscribe, and share, Road to Patriots. Hopefully you enjoyed the full interview. Just figured instead of bringing you clips of this thing, I'd just share the whole thing with you. Everybody have a great one. Over and out.